Sometimes a game comes along that aligns so precisely with my specific interests that I fear certain developers gain inspiration for their upcoming titles by hiding in the bushes outside of my kitchen window in order to listen to me bark game ideas at the kettle. Case in point, SteamWorld Build, an upcoming city builder that combines the mayoral duties of SimCity with the subterranean busywork of Dungeon Keeper. Now, I've been lucky enough to spend around 4 hours with an early version of the game, and I think it's fair to say that I'm already smitten with what developers The Station have cooked up so far. These are 5 reasons I can't wait to play more of SteamWorld Build. As mentioned up top, the most exciting thing about SteamWorld Build is that it's a game of 2 halves. Above ground, you'll spend your time managing a burgeoning settlement, building houses and utilities to keep your dinky robot population happy and content. But at any given moment, you can also transition instantly into the mines, a series of caves chock full of resources that can be extracted by your workers. As a concept, you'd expect gluing 2 differing interpretations of the management genre together would be jarring, but the result is a game that still feels cohesive. Obviously, it helps that each layer directly impacts the other. Growing your city lets you expand your mine and vice versa, but there is something to be said about allowing players to alternate between the two whenever they fancy. Is managing supply lines up in the city proving overwhelming? Well, simply dive into the mines for a quick breather, forgetting about the bigger picture for a moment while you dig out a lovely chunk of gold. The result is, within Build's opening hours at least, a very different kind of city builder. It's basically 2 games in one, each with its own unique rhythms and goals. Again, early on, there are seemingly no stakes or fail states either. Things may go wrong, but never catastrophically so, giving you the time and space to consider your next move carefully and without pressure. It's wonderful stuff. Building a city is a fairly straightforward task. Settlements comprise of 3 types of buildings: houses for your workers, local amenities that keep their surrounding population happy, and factories that supply your city as a whole. Workers are required to run your factories, but more advanced buildings require a different type of citizen. Maxing out a home allows you to upgrade it, providing you with more advanced workers alongside new buildings and a fresh set of needs required to keep them happy. It's a touch more hands-on than SimCity, then, but a little less resource-heavy than a Settlers or a Pharaoh. It sort of sits comfortably in the middle of all its obvious influences, letting you build a functional civilization with relative ease. Your main issues in the city layer will revolve around space and positioning. Upgrading buildings destroys its previous occupants, and new requirements means trying to slot additional buildings into your already densely packed residential areas in order to keep everyone happy. Now, this wasn't a huge issue in my demo, but I can see settlement spaghetti proving to be your biggest adversary in the later stages of the game. Down in the mineshaft, things are a little smaller in scope compared to your responsibilities in the world above the dirt. Did you ever play Dungeon Keeper? Yeah, this is Dungeon Keeper. You drag tiles to create different work and living spaces. The larger they are, the more of a specific type of robot will show up to help out. You can then highlight blocks of dirt and resource seams before your army of steam-powered imps dig through them one by one. As a huge Dungeon Keeper liker, the mine section of SteamWorld Build is a joyously faithful homage to Bullfrog's 1997 PC classic. Mine bots have to clear the ground before you can build on it. Without a task to occupy them, they'll busy themselves constructing scaffolding for exposed walls and barriers next to sharp drops. I have long craved a modern Dungeon Keeper, and although this is a substantially pared down take on that original concept, these tiny details still poured a pleasing amount of serotonin onto my small, withered brain. And hey, let's face it, the goals are very different here. You mine to extract resources that can then be used topside to create items for your populace. Your aim here isn't to survive or conquer, but to extract and automate instead. It's obviously a natural fit for a style of game all about digging through dirt, but it is funny how out of place it feels at first due to the absence of demons and torture devices. Still, I'm very happy to see it here, and it ended up eking ahead as my favourite layer to noodle around within. Now this probably goes without saying because you've been staring at it for the last 5 minutes, but Build looks lovely. Its buildings and factories, especially. I've always loved SteamWorld's turn-of-the-century Wild West take on robotics, and Build really fleshes out how that idea would look on a far larger scale than we've ever seen before in previous titles. Robotic cows are harvested for robotic meat, logging factories chop trees with an enormous axe that swings perilously from its roof. In SteamWorld, Maslow's hierarchy of needs would consist of coal, water, access to repair centres, and, for some reason, fresh bottles of moonshine. I love a city builder with flavour, and SteamWorld Build has it in abundance. It's the little details too, the way its buildings, bursting with colour, stand out against the sandy landscape, the way your tiny workers bob and sway as they carry resources between factories and warehouses, the way buildings wobble as you move them around the screen. It's nice. I like it. For those who don't already belong to the cult of Steam, SteamWorld is a series of games originally created by the developer Image and Form. SteamWorld games are unique in that each entry, other than direct sequels, belong to a unique genre. Dig is a Mr. Driller-style exploration game. Heist is an exceptional 2D take on XCOM. Quest is a role-playing card game. Tying them together is SteamWorld itself. Less of a physical location and more of an aesthetic, one that revolves around colourful automatons rendered from iron and powered by flame. Build is no different. Here be robots, as we've already discussed, but it also features a full-blown storyline, one that surrounds a child who can unwillingly interpret the voices of long-dead machines, her worried father, and a sinister core who is clearly puppeteering the whole operation. Your ultimate goal here is to uncover pieces of a rocket ship that are buried within the mines in order to escape the planet itself. Traditionally, the closest thing to a story found in a management game is created organically through play, making Build's rigid narrative a touch unusual but certainly not unwelcome. Although it seems slightly by the numbers, it's a nice little addition that once again lends Build this unique tone that makes it stand out from its competitors. So, as you can probably tell, I'm pretty excited to play more of SteamWorld Build. I mean, come on, Dungeon Keeper but with robots, The Settlers but with robots, both of those things mashed together in the same game? Be still my beating heart. Are you excited to play SteamWorld Build? Let us know in the comments below. For all your PC gaming needs, make sure to check out rockpapershotgun.com, and I'll be back very soon with more daft videos about computer games. Bye bye.